It's a very tragic story. It's about a trainer death. When I heard about the death of a top trainer of Don Brancho in 2010, I couldn't believe that that could happen. I didn't understand why an intelligent animal would have made the decision to bite the hand that feeds it, basically. So I started peeling back the onion and was shocked by what I learned.
Hey, little Rico. I spoke with the director of the controversial new movie Blackfish, which is sparking huge debate. The movie's been described as a thriller that goes back in time to find out why Tilikum the whale killed SeaWorld trainer Don Brancho 3 years ago. The film makes the case that these massive orcas go stir-crazy in these enclosures and should not be kept in captivity. SeaWorld disagrees, claiming the film exploits Don's tragic death to promote its bias. It's a hot debate. You can watch Blackfish on CNN at 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. Don't miss it. Here's a clip.
It was a really exciting thing to do, and so everybody wanted to do it.
What were they telling you were going to do?
Capture orcas.
They had aircraft, they had spotters, they had speedboats, they had bombs they were throwing in the water. They were lighting their bombs with acetylene torches in their boats and throwing them as fast as they could to herd the whales into coves. But the orcas had been caught before, and they knew what was going on, and they knew their young ones would be taken from them. So the adults without young went east into a cul-de-sac, and the boats followed them, thinking they were all going that way, while the mothers with babies went north. But the capture teams had aircraft, and they have to come up for air eventually, and when they did, the capture teams alerted the boats and said, oh no, they're going north, the ones with babies. So the boats, the speedboats, caught them there and herded them in. And then they had fishing boats with seine nets that they would stretch across so none could leave, and then they could just pick out the young ones.
SeaWorld responds that killer whales, quote, adapt very well to life in a zoological setting. The overwhelming majority of killer whales in our parks were born in the care of man, end quote. Now, what's extraordinary about this goes way beyond this particular animal or even this particular film. It's really that we've come to a point as a culture where animal issues are being taken very seriously. It's no secret that I'm an animal rights advocate, but many people are saying that this movie marks a real turning point and that this is a very important dialogue. Here is the director of Blackfish.
This industry that promotes animals entertaining us and doing goofy tricks because we can't think that maybe it might be better to just behold them at a distance, realizing that we can't own and we can't take things and we can't master them and make things perform for us, that it actually does more harm for the animal than good.
We reached out to SeaWorld as well as these other organizations seeking to get the other side. All declined to offer a guest to appear on camera to defend animal theme parks, zoos, and or aquariums. Straight out to Peter Singer, Princeton University professor of bioethics and the author of the groundbreaking book, Animal Liberation, the definitive classic of the animal movement. Advocates for zoos and aquariums say they're prepared and trained to handle the animals and that the benefits for the visitors are priceless. Listen to Ken Ramirez, Executive Vice President of Animal Care and Training at Shed Aquarium in Chicago.
I think there's no question that caring for a large animal like a killer whale is a difficult proposition. It requires a certain level of expertise, and that's something that I think SeaWorld does possess. And so I do believe that a well-run, accredited zoological organization can do a great job of caring for these animals. And most importantly, I think what we're able to do is connect our guests and our visitors to these animals and inspire them to care, inspire them to make a difference about the conservation needs and the environmental issues that these animals face in the wild. And that's what zoos and aquariums, good aquariums, do.
SeaWorld says Blackfish, quote, paints a distorted picture that withholds from viewers key facts about SeaWorld. Among them, SeaWorld is one of the most respected zoological institutions, that SeaWorld rescues, rehabilitates, and returns to the wild hundreds of wild animals every year, and that SeaWorld commits millions of dollars annually to conservation and scientific research. Peter Singer, that's what SeaWorld says. So my question to you is, if they do all that work, which they say they do, does that then allow them to use orcas, keep them in captivity, train them, and use them in performances?
No, I don't think that you can take animals and give them lives that are clearly miserable lives compared to what they would have out in the ocean, and then say, well, we're paying for this because we're restoring some other animals to the wild. If you want to set up a animal rescue organization or an animal charity that's raising money from people to return animals to the wild that might be in captivity, that's great. But I don't think you can just take animals and use them to entertain people, make money off that, and then say, well, it's okay because of what we're doing with a small part of this money. That doesn't justify the wrong that they've done to the animals in the first place.
Do you think that if animals had certain rights, if animals were not, for example, considered property, that there would be a complete sea change in how animals would exist in this world and the amount of suffering or the lack of suffering that they would experience?
Well, clearly, we think of animals as just things for us to use, and as you say, we think of them as items of property. And I think that's wrong. I think we should regard animals as beings that have lives of their own to live. And just as we no longer accept the idea of property in other human beings, though we used to do that, of course, during the slavery era, I think we should say animals also have lives of their own to live.
Oh, no, I never said that. She didn't do it maliciously. But I'm having different people come to me and say, she's so annoying. She doesn't know her place. She's such a wannabe.
Up next, why Real Housewives of Miami star Adriana Demora got naked and sat in a tub, and how that relates to the controversy over orcas in captivity.
So I kind of took my clothes off. Not kind, like did it. I just couldn't get out of, I couldn't wait to get out of that tub, after just less than 3 hours in the tub. Sometimes people think there's a romance to it, or being in the tub is fine, yeah, but try to live in it for a long time, and it's not comfortable at all.